Logged in as an administrator, when we come under Settings, we're automatically taken to General Settings. Most importantly on this page are the site title, tagline, and URL for the site. The site title and tagline often appear in the top of a page. We could see that when we hover over the top here, we could see both the site title and description. These are available to developers as tags within a theme, so you could dynamically add the title to your theme, change it here, and see it reflected throughout the site. We could see then that our changes have taken effect. We also have the URL for the site. People often wonder why we have two URL settings in WordPress. Oftentimes, these are the same things. However, in some setups, you may have your WordPress folder in a place that's not at the root directory. For example, our site may be set up at localhost/settings, but our WordPress files may be stored in a subfolder somewhere called WordPress or something else. If you take a look at this article here, giving WordPress its own directory, it explains how you can install WordPress in one place, but have the URL for the site look like it's somewhere else. We also have the main email address for the site. This is important because a lot of plugins will pull this email and use it for sending out notifications, whether they're contact forms or something else involving activity on the site. When you first install WordPress, it's that first super admin or administrator whose email is set by default to be the email address for the entire site. If you're building a site for another person, you want to make sure that you update this email address so that other plugins relying on it know who to properly contact. Next, we have the ability to turn on and off membership on our site. Once we turn on membership, we have to set up the default user role. You'll likely want to pick something fairly low in this case and not grant the person abilities to post articles either as a contributor or author. It's highly unlikely that you'll want to set up administrator as the default role. Depending on how you're using members on your site will determine how you turn this on. Once this is checked though, and we save our changes and log out, we then see an option to register for our site appear on the front end. However, when we log in as an admin, come under General Settings, and uncheck this, now when we log out and look at our site, that register option is no longer there. The rest of the WordPress general settings have to do with setting up time and date formats. You could see that we could choose our time zone. We're on the East Coast of the United States here. We could set up the date format, as well as how we want time to appear. Finally, we have the option for week starts on. This can be helpful if you're displaying content on your site in a calendar format.